All right, my name is Larry Kwegbo, and you're welcome to New Digital Farm. If you have any plants in a container just like this, or you have any fruit trees in a container like this, then you need to watch this video. You know, now we are in the dry season. This season now, because of a lot of sun, there's not much rain falling again. And remember, container pot farming needs a lot of attention by watering every day. And now that the sun, that you have a lot of sun now, one we are using preventing much water loss and for me to have water in the system of my plant is by this method that I call leaf covering, fresh leaf or dry leaf covering. Now, if you look at this spot I am with right now, you're going to see that I use a dry leaf, look at it, to cover the soil just to keep it wet, just to keep it moistured. Because when you water your plant, one thing you are trying to do is not to soak the plant with water. One thing you are trying to do is to wet the soil. So when you're watering your plant in a pot, remember you're not to store water in that pot. The major thing you're trying to do is to wet the soil, because even the plant on the ground that you planted on the ground direct, the soil is not always soaked. It's not always soaked with a lot of water. The soil is always wet. So all you're trying to do when you water your plant in the pot is that you're trying to wet the soil. That is the most important thing. So I will have this in the back of your mind that when you're watering your plant, you are trying to wet the soil. You're not trying to soak the soil, you know, or let it be waterlogged. You're not trying to create a water. The water should remain in your pot. Once water remains in your pot, it might cause root rust, or the root might start get damaged or create a root nematode or kind of disease to the root. So that's why I see that anywhere you plant, you have your fruit trees or any trees, and water normally settle there without water draining it out. No time that plant will die, because that plant will start having root rot, which will now start destroying the plant. So make sure that anywhere you're planting your trees, your fruit trees or anything, water do not settle there. Even sometime in the villages or where you plant cassava, you discover that if you plant cassava and there's a water, there's a flood around that place, most of the cassava or the yam will get damaged. So that's so that the plant does not need a lot of water. All they don't need is for the soil to be wet. The plant knows how to collect its water from the nutrient and the nutrient it needs through the water. So you don't need to soak your plant. You know, when some people want to water their plant, you will discover that they'll be pouring water in this thing until the water want to fill up the pot they are using, which is not supposed to be so. Once the soil, all the soil is wet, you don't need to make the place be waterlogged again. You understand? So all you have to do is to make sure that your soil is always wet. So for me, this dry season, what I did was that for me to keep my soil wet, I have to now introduce this. These were fresh grasses initially when I got them, but they stay here and get dried up. So by so doing, when the sun comes, you only act on the instead of the sun to go straight to the soil and dry the soil, it land on this thing. So the sun is not directly touching the soil. So instead it's touching this grass you are seeing. By so doing, preventing excess water loss from the soil. So this is what I use in preventing excess water loss from this my soil in this spot. So then I keep this soil and I keep this plant with water at always. So that the soil is always moistured at all time. You understand? So that's what I do to prevent. So I would like you to introduce water. But now there are something involved. Now you don't keep these things for so long. You know, this is my big plant. I will remove it from this big plant. So you don't keep this thing for so long. If you keep it for like about 3 to 4 days, you have to remove it and let sun touch the soil also, because of the root also carry out some photosynthesis for some kind plant among all the old plants. So sometimes you have to remove it also and let the sun touch the soil itself. And second thing is to kill the bacteria from the surface, because once you put these things, bacteria will store on the surface of this thing. So to remove those bacteria from the surface of this, you have to open this thing for at least, if you cover it for at least 4 days, then open it at least 2 days for steady sunlight to heat it and kill some of those bacteria that must have been stored under this thing. You'll be surprised enough that when you cover it, to show how this thing is cold, even frog, you know, the frog that jump around will be staying under this thing. I have some of them in my family that stay under. I will tell you how moistured is this place. So this is a very good method to preserve your soil moisture. But remember, you must not keep it for so long. You must always remove it so that the bacteria, the fungal bacteria will be storing under this plant will be going out. And by the way, this thing is also a manure. If it decay here, it can become a manure, but you don't want it to decay because you already have manure in your system, some organic manure in your plant. So you don't need this. So for now, just to use it to prevent excess water loss from your soil in the plant in this dry season. So, but when it starts raining, you don't need to cover this again. Remove it so that your plant can be receiving direct water from the rainfall and direct sunlight. So I want to let you know that this is what I use. So let me just show you. Sorry. And I just remove for some of the plants so they can receive some soil. I just put this one recently. So these are them. So you can see this is what I use to reduce excess water loss when it comes to plants in the pot or fruit trees in the pot. So see you for next lecture. If you want to learn about any plant, always come to the page. Do not forget to subscribe. Let me to subscribe and also share this post. You can also comment if you have any question you want to ask. You can ask any question, comment. But do not forget to subscribe for more of the educational content and posts like this. Thank you. My name is Larry Kwebo, and this is New Digital Farm. Thank you.